I talked to Manny on the phone, and he wants to fight one more time.
He wants to fight one more time.
He does. Can fight because he had speed and he had power, and it's very, very hard to get those two together
at that size.
Yeah.
They thought it was over, that the final bell had already rung on one of boxing's greatest stories. The man who once made giants look small, who sent legends crumbling with a flurry of fists and footwork that defied logic, was done. After his 2021 loss to Denis Yugas, Manny Pacquiao stepped out of the ring and into politics, leaving fans with memories instead of expectations. But now, in a twist worthy of its own documentary, he's back. At 46, with knees that have seen 1,000 rounds and hands still wrapped in destiny, why? Why return when everyone says it's too late? Why chase a dream most would say has already passed? Because one man believes the fire never left, Freddie Roach. The Hall of Fame trainer, the soft-spoken architect behind some of boxing's most electric nights, he's seen Pacquiao's punches land in ways even science couldn't explain. And now he's watching them again, with the same calm confidence in his voice. Manny can beat Mario Barrios. Not survive him. Not go the distance. Beat him. And if Freddie Roach says it, history tells us we should listen. This isn't just a comeback story. It's a reckoning, a legend pushing against the weight of time, against logic, against everything we've come to accept about aging fighters. And Roach is holding the door open for one more war, because in his mind, Manny Pacquiao didn't stop being great, he just took a break. It started with whispers, a few seconds of blurry mid-work leaked online. Then a clearer shot, Manny Pacquiao in full gear, shadowboxing at Wildcard. No formal announcement, no press release, just motion. Speed. That unmistakable rhythm. And suddenly, boxing fans who had long moved on were glued to their screens whispering the same question, is he coming back? Pacquiao hadn't fought in years. He'd become a senator, a philanthropist, a living statue. Most figured he'd spend his later years shaking hands, not throwing them. The Yugas loss felt like the final chapter, not because he looked bad, but because he looked tired. But the thing about warriors, they don't retire because they're tired. They stop when there's nothing left to fight for. Now, there's something, Mario Barrios. Tall. Strong. Young. Dangerous. A name rising in the welterweight ranks after dominating Yugas, yes, the same Yugas who beat Manny. And that's where the story twists. That win put Barrios on a map he didn't ask for. One Roach and Pacquiao intend to redraw. The media questioned everything. Why would Manny do this at 46? Is this desperation? Ego? But Roach, never one for drama, shut it down with a single line, he's not doing this for money. He's doing this because he knows he can win. That's not blind loyalty, that's 20 years in the trenches. Roach has seen Pacquiao through wars that would have broken others, from Barrera to Marquez to Thurman. He's been there when the world doubted. And every time, Manny proved them wrong. This isn't a midlife crisis. It's unfinished business. And Roach, with that same quiet fire in his voice, is betting it all on the man who built his name throwing fists so fast the cameras could barely keep up. Barrios may be younger, taller, fresher, but he's about to walk into something he's never faced before. Not just a fighter. Not just a legend. But a storm that doesn't know how to quit. If Manny Pacquiao is the fire, Freddie Roach is the match that lit it. Their story isn't just about trainer and fighter. It's about belief. Roach has Parkinson's. He shakes when he talks, sometimes softly, sometimes not at all. But when he steps into the ring, pads on, everything stills. That's not medicine. That's purpose. Before he was in Manny's corner, Roach was just another fighter with bad hands and worse luck. He fought tough, but not smart. And when the lights faded, he stayed in the sport because he had nowhere else to go. That's where Wildcard Gym came from, 4 walls, sweat-soaked mats, and a stubbornness that wouldn't die. Then one day, in walked a shy, wiry kid from the Philippines. Barely spoke English. But when he hit the mitts, Roach felt it in his bones, lightning. He'd seen fighters. But this was different. Over 2 decades later, Roach still watches Pacquiao with the same focus. And that's why people listen when he talks, because Freddy doesn't lie. He's told Manny not to fight before. He's walked fighters into retirement when their legs were gone and their reflexes dulled. But not this time. Not with Manny. He isn't saying maybe. He's saying can. As in, he can beat Barrios. He's sharp. He's strong. And he's smarter now than he's ever been. That last part is key. Because Roach isn't counting on Manny to out-youth Barrios. He's counting on him to outthink him. This isn't the same Pacquiao who brawled with reckless abandon. This is the evolved version. Still fast. Still unorthodox. But now, calculated. And behind that calculation is Roach, meticulous, ruthless, honest. When others see 46, Roach sees 12 rounds of data, angles, patterns. He sees how Barrios dips his left after the hook, how he retreats in straight lines. He sees not just a path to victory, but a blueprint already in motion. Because for Roach, this fight isn't just one more payday. It's the final movement in a symphony he's been composing for over 20 years, a final crescendo. And he thinks it ends with Barrios on the canvas. Mario Barrios is not a soft target. He's not a setup. He's not some hand-picked stepping stone to make a legend look good on his way out. He's the real deal, young, tall, durable, and mean in the clinch. At 5 feet 10 inches with a 71-inch reach, he's a natural welterweight who walks opponents down with quiet confidence. He beat Denis Yugas convincingly, and that alone puts him on the radar as a major threat. But here's the twist, beating Yugas doesn't mean you're ready for Pacquiao. Especially not the kind of Pacquiao that's still trained by Freddie Roach. Because Roach doesn't see Barrios as a mountain. He sees him as a maze.
Huge right hand, the jab. There's that.
Barrios is disciplined, but not unpredictable. He relies on rhythm. His jab, while solid, comes from the same angle every time. His body work is aggressive, but telegraphed. Roach calls it methodical, which in Freddy speak is code for exploitable. He's got the tools, sure. But Roach's eyes are on the gaps. His feet don't catch up to his hands, Roach says. He throws, but he's flat when he resets. Manny thrives on that. And it's true. Watch enough Barrios tape and you'll notice it. He's great moving forward. But when forced to pivot or fight off the back foot, his timing gets shaky. That's a red flag against a fighter who lives on sharp angles and quick entries, like Pacquiao. And there's something else. Barrios has never been in the ring with someone who moves like Manny. Not just speed, chaos. Controlled, intelligent chaos. Most fighters get flustered when they can't find their target. Barrios? He tightens up.
Just landed. Very close.
That's the real danger. Barrios is walking into a fight where the rhythm he depends on will be torn apart by movement he's never prepared for. Roach knows it. Manny knows it. And if Barrios doesn't adapt mid-fight, something he's never had to do at this level, he won't survive the storm. He'll drown in it. At 46, you don't train harder. You train smarter. That's the gospel Freddy Roach has been preaching in the quiet corners of Wildcard. Gone are the days of sparring 8 rounds with 3 different partners back-to-back. Now, every minute counts. Every punch has a purpose. And every session ends not with exhaustion, but with calculation. Manny used to be the gym's chaos engine, blitzing through heavy bags, shadowboxing like his life depended on it, doubling up on road work just to feel tired. But this camp is different. The fire's still there, but it's focused, sharpened, refined. Roach designed this camp with surgical precision. Not to chase what Manny was, but to extract what still remains. Roach's mantra this time around is no wasted movement. Every punch thrown in camp is reviewed. Every session is documented. There are fewer rounds, but more film. Less damage, but more depth. Manny no longer trains to break his body. He trains to preserve it and sharpen the tools he'll need for just 36 minutes in the ring. Even recovery is tactical. Cryotherapy sessions. Nutrition tailored down to the molecule. Reflex drills with LED lights instead of just sparring. Roach's team includes a movement coach now, someone who studies how Pacquiao steps, rotates, even breathes between exchanges. Because when time isn't on your side, science has to be. People forget, Roach said, Manny was a volume puncher. But he was never reckless. He always had IQ. We're just leaning on that now more than ever. And that's the terrifying part for any opponent who thinks this version of Pacquiao is slower. He may be a step off, but he's now thinking 2 steps ahead. This isn't a faded champ gasping for one last payday. This is a fighter still sculpting his final masterpiece. Roach isn't rebuilding Manny. He's revealing what never left. If Barrios has nightmares, they won't be of knockouts. They'll be of things he can't see, of punches that appear from below his chin or around his temple, of feet that are never where they were a second ago, of a man half his size making the ring feel like a trap. That's what it's like to fight Manny Pacquiao. Freddie Roach has always said it, it's not just speed. It's unpredictable speed. Pacquiao doesn't throw 1-2 combos. He throws 5, 7, 10 from angles that don't make sense. While moving. While slipping. While smiling. Barrios is orthodox, structured, and built on rhythm. He likes his jab. He likes his distance. But that's exactly the kind of fighter Pacquiao has eaten alive over the years. Ask De La Hoya. Ask Cotto. Ask Thurman. Tall, strong guys who blinked and found themselves on the ropes with a left hand detonating somewhere near their cheekbone. Oh, down goes Thurman. And let me tell you, that was just a quick punch. And Manny Pacquiao moved in with his legs. And Roach sees the pattern. Barrios backs out straight. That's death against a southpaw like Manny, he says. And he's right. The worst thing you can do against Pacquiao is retreat in a line. Because he follows like a shadow. And he punches while moving forward. And Barrios, he's never fought a southpaw with this kind of engine. He's sparred lefties, fought a few. But none who blur the lines between offense and movement like Pacquiao. Roach calls it the slingshot. Manny draws you in, then launches forward at an angle just off-center enough to be invisible until it's too late. It's not about raw speed anymore. It's about deception. Manny uses feints like grenades. His feet are weapons. He'll dart in, fire 3, then step out sideways, leaving Barrios swinging at air and resetting his feet like a rookie.
Out goes Thurman! And let me tell you, that was just a quick punch. And Manny Pacquiao moved in with his legs. And
Barrios can hit. He can pressure. But when he tries to corner the ghost, he'll find himself reaching, swinging, and missing. Because Manny Pacquiao's greatest weapon has never been his fists, it's his ability to vanish and reappear exactly where you're most vulnerable. Freddie Roach knows, even now, that part of Pacquiao never aged a day. The calendar says 46. The tape says otherwise. You can age a body, but you can't age instincts, not when they're wired into your bones. And if there's one thing Roach repeats like gospel, it's this: Barrios doesn't just have to fight Manny's body, he has to outthink his brain. That's where most people get it wrong. They see the speed, the flurries, the energy, and they assume he's chaos. But chaos doesn't win 8 world titles. Strategy does. Intelligence does. And now, more than ever, Roach is unleashing that version of Manny, the cerebral assassin. He's not coming in to outslug Barrios. He's coming in to outweed him.
Clark Thurman backing up. thought he could back up quick enough, but he wasn't quick enough to get it out of the reach of that punch.
Roach has spent hours dissecting Barrios' habits. He knows how Barrios reacts when pressured. He knows how he covers up during clinches, and exactly where he resets after throwing a right hook. That's the blueprint. And Pacquiao's ring IQ, sharpened in wars with some of the greatest fighters of this generation, is the scalpel. Age means nothing if you know how to control the pace, Roach says. Manny's foot feints alone can steal rounds. He doesn't need to throw 50 punches to win a frame. He just needs Barrios to second-guess when the storm is coming. And don't overlook the timing. Roach has Manny drilling split-second counters, not just in reaction, but in anticipation. Barrios loves to double up on his jab, especially after circling left. Roach's team knows that. They're waiting. Manny's straight left is practically GPS locked to that pattern.
3 of the last 4 rounds. Look at the total jabs landed and thrown. Pacquiao 23.
Then there's the clinch. Barrios is strong and close. He likes to wrestle, to maul. But Manny's no rookie in the trenches. He's been tied up by Margarito, tangled with Mosley, mauled by Horn. He knows the language of the inside game: elbows in, legs wide, punch on the break. Roach calls them old man tricks, but really, it's just veteran savvy. If Barrios comes in thinking youth alone will carry him, he's already behind. This fight isn't about speed anymore. It's about traps, about control, about deception. Manny may not throw as many punches now, but the ones he does throw, those land twice as hard, twice as loud, because experience doesn't fade. It sharpens. Ask Roach why he still trains Manny Pacquiao, and his voice softens, not from doubt, but from reverence. Because every time Manny walks into wildcard, Roach believes again. That belief isn't nostalgia. It's presence. No cameras. No entourage. Just Manny. He wraps his own hands. Says hello to everyone in the gym. Then gets to work. Roach watches from the corner, Parkinson's tremors slowing as he locks in on every pivot. It's the same rhythm he's watched for 20 years, but now, it's more refined. More precise. Less about power. More about purpose. There was a time when Roach told Manny to stop. After the Yugas fight, after the swelling, after those press conferences where Manny smiled, but his eyes looked tired. Roach told him it was enough, that his legacy was secure. But then something changed. Manny came back, not to be famous, not to chase headlines, not to prove anything. He came back to fight. Because that's who he is. And that, more than anything, is why Roach believes. He's seen fighters fake it. Seen them train just enough to convince the cameras, but not themselves. Manny's different. Even now, he's pushing, not for money, not for validation, but for the purity of the craft. For the idea that greatness, once earned, doesn't have to decay. It can evolve. Roach's belief isn't blind. It's forged from battle. He's seen Manny knocked down, bleeding, hurt. But he's never seen him quit.
Up in it! There you go!
For Freddy Roach, this fight isn't about a comeback. It's about closure. About legacy. About finishing on his own terms, with the fighter who made him, and the fighter he helped shape into a legend. And when Roach says Manny can win, he's not hoping, he's certain. This isn't just another fight on a calendar. It's not a tune-up. It's not a farewell tour. It's not a desperate grab for relevance. Pacquiao vs. Barrios is a collision of eras, one man rising, one man already immortal. One with everything to prove. The other with nothing left to prove, but everything left to say. Roach has trained hundreds of fighters, walked thousands of rounds in gyms from Boston to Manila. But this one feels different. Not because it's the biggest, but because it might be the last. And Roach doesn't want it to end as a whisper. He wants it to echo as a statement. He says it flat, if Manny lands clean, Barrios is going down. That confidence isn't noise. It's earned. Because Roach sees what the cameras miss. How sharp Manny still is, how hard he still hits, how dialed in he's become with no politics, no endorsements, no distractions. He's not a senator now. He's a fighter again.
Back and tries to roar back to nail Pacquiao with the right. A bloody Juan Manuel Marquez. And here comes Marquez, follow with the overhand right.
Barrios isn't a fool. He knows he's not just stepping in with an opponent, he's stepping into a legacy. That weight alone can break a man. Pressure does strange things to young fighters. Ask Thurman. Ask Bradley. Ask every opponent who thought they had Manny figured out, right up until he changed angles mid-combination and flipped the fight. But this isn't really about Barrios. It's about history. About whether one of the greatest ever can summon one last masterpiece. Whether timing and instinct and sheer will can beat back biology one more time. Whether Freddie Roach's voice in the corner still carries the weight of destiny. And maybe, just maybe, this is the moment when the ring doesn't ask for youth. It asks for courage. For grit. For the kind of experience that turns seconds into victory. Because history doesn't always go quietly. Sometimes, it comes back just one more time.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. For more exciting videos, make sure to hit the bell icon and stay updated. Subscribe to Boxing Hub now for all the latest in boxing.